Hello, everyone. This is Kelly and Taylor. Welcome to our Starvation in Africa PowerPoint. Excuse me, Prezi. I'm going to go ahead and move us to our first slide. Okay, Taylor, if you could go ahead and start us off, please.
Okay. The first thing we're going to start off with is a Powtoon that we created about starvation in Africa.
Okay, so the poverty level in Africa. Now, this is just a little chart that I discovered on the internet. This is where between 1980 to 2010, this is where the rich class, middle class, and poverty line. And as you can see, there has been mostly poverty in Africa during this time period. For example, at 1980, it was almost 50%, and 2010, 44%. So Africa has had a long-standing poverty range, and there's not that much of a middle class in Africa. It's mostly poor class, a little bit of rich, but mostly poor and lower middle. And so I'm going to go ahead and move us over to this slide right here. Taylor, you want to go ahead and start this off, please?
Yes, the next thing we'll do is a video. The content is age appropriate for third graders. The content does not show any graphics, so the idea of starvation may be unsettling. Students will not see pictures of people starving to death.
Okay, so after we would let the students watch this video first, and then I would have students. We've talked about that Nigeria, Yemen, South Sudan and Salamia. I hope I'm saying those names right. Are under severe starvation alert. So I would have students look at the map of Africa and find the countries and then color them in so that students would have a visual representation of the countries and that it would be more real for them to actually see the location of those countries in Africa. Okay, so performance task.
Okay, so for the performance task, students will be divided into 3 groups, and a way that you could divide them into those 3 groups would be to write it out on a piece of paper and tear the piece of paper up and let the students draw out which one, and whichever one they drew would be the group that they were in, rich, middle, or poor. The rich will receive fresh juice, salad, entrees, and 2 sides, and dessert. The food will be served on good china glasses complete with silverware, and the middle class will receive tap water, several slices of bread, and a large bowl of rice. Their food will be on paper plates. The poor class will receive dirty water, 1 slice of bread, and a small bowl of rice on a paper plate. Students will then be divided again to share their experiences with other groups, and all the children will get to experience all 3 of the groups.
And one thing also I did want to mention that I didn't include in performance task, we would probably not have real food in the classroom, but fake food, but I want students to see the visual representation of it being displayed for each of the groups. I also wanted to incorporate dirty water in our presentation, in the class by taking a little bit of dirt and putting it in fresh, clean water and stirring it up and just showing the students that that is the type of water, even worse water, is in Africa because of they don't have good techniques for getting water. They have a lot of times they have to get water from dirty pools, or it's just very, very bad water that causes a lot of disease. And then learning experience to go beyond the classroom. Students will understand the true meaning of the word starvation simply by the performance task activity. Imagine living on a little bit of rice and a piece of bread and dirty water, just one meal a day. Some families have to survive off of $1.25 a day just to eat food. And just imagine with this famine going on, it's even worse in those 4 countries that we've discussed. So as a class, I would like us to contribute $1 apiece once a month to sponsor a child in Africa. And students hopefully will be encouraged to write letters and keep in contact with the class adopted child. And actually, I think this would be a great tool to, it would be another good lesson plan to do. I could get students to write letters, and this would be a good connection to this English standard for students to practice on their literacy skills.
As far as the North Carolina teaching professional standards goes, these are the ones that we thought this topic and presentation would tie into. Teachers facilitate learning by introducing technology and creating a class project for all students to participate in, and teachers work as leaders to create the awareness of starvation.
And I also do want to add to that I did not put in. When teachers work as leaders to create the awareness of starvation, they create a topic that might be already known to students at some level. I know Rutherford County has many families are below or right at the edge of the poverty line, and this just shows students how they're even much worse families than their own, and it creates a global awareness for students. And then the North Carolina standards with connections. So the first connection, and this is also connected with the 5SS for social studies, explain change over time through historical narratives, events, people, and places. That's kind of what I did with the graph about the poor, the middle, and the rich over time from between 1980 to 2010. Compare various regions according to their characteristics. We could go further in this learning experience by explaining the ecosystems of these 4 countries that are under the famine, explain how a lot of those regions, they're dusty and hot and just not very good soil conditions, as you probably saw in the video. There was a lot of, it's just a very poor region as far as just soil wise. And then explain how the location impacts supplies and demand. We could go further in saying that looking at the different locations of those countries and seeing how close they are to oceans or to rivers. And then apply skills in civic engagement and public discourse. One way we could go a step further in this class is to have students create a presentation on starvation and show it in front of the school about their experience with adopting a child in Africa. And then compare languages, foods, and traditions of various groups living in the local regional communities. We could look at the different groups, different 4 countries that we talked about, and look at the, we touched on a little bit of what foods they eat, but just their different traditions and their lifestyle. And then in comprehension and collaboration, engage effectively in a range of collaborative discussions, one-on-one in groups, and teacher-led with diverse partners on grade 3 topics and text building on others' ideas and expressing their own ideas clearly. And this is a literacy component that also connects with social studies, in that students can work with their peers in the performance task. They can work with them and also with collaborating with each other on writing a letter for a later lesson with a letter for our adopted child. So those are just a few standards with connections that we've used. And I want to thank you so much for watching our video. I hope it wasn't too long. Just for our peer follow-up, what would be your strategy for teaching students about starvation? I can't wait to hear your responses. Thank you so much for watching.